Well, they've done some practice simulations, obviously, in practice 1 and 2, to get a feel for where their braking points are. But it is quite different to go from the 150 to the 200 level of energy. It is quite different. It changes your braking references, your entry speeds, everything. So it's not too unknown, but still it does get your attention, and especially with everything now being optimized, the setup, you know, fresher tires. But you know, the outlaps is all about getting temperatures into the brakes, into the tires, keeping the systems cool, so you don't lose any energy towards the end of a lap because things have got too hot as well. So that's always a thing that's in the back of the mind.
So this is them weaving around now through turn 8, the right-hander, which then moves into turn 9. A long, tricky right-hander, one of the most difficult corners on the circuit. Bruno Senna's now up to turn 12, where it all gets very tight and ducks underneath the canopy roof of the Berlin Tempelhof Airport, which stopped being used in 2008 after 99 years of aircraft service. But here now then, across the line comes Bruno Senna, and down towards turn 1. We'll get an indication at the first sector, really, whether he's using his full power or whether he's just doing 150 kilowatts. You get 2 laps at 200 kilowatts of power. The rest of the time you can do whatever you want, really, and they tend to do an out lap and then a first lap at 150 and then turn it up to the full 200 for a lap, calm down, and then go back out again. So they're all on 150 kilowatts at the moment. We can tell that from our telemetry that we are fed in the TV compound, so all the drivers are on 150 at the moment, and that makes sense because Nelson Piquet Jr. is just on a 29.0 in the first sector, which is in keeping with the 150 kind of power. And then we come down into turn 10. It's so wide and so open. I think the racing is going to be great, Mike.
Yeah, there's going to be some good overtaking opportunities there, and the fact that you can run out so wide on the exit. You know, if you're on the outside and someone tries to dive up the inside of you, you're going to really try and take advantage of that extra bit of road on the outside to not lose position. So I think there, and turn 1's a little bit dirtier actually offline, so you're going to have to be more careful there. But it is, yeah, turn 6 and 10 very wide on exit.
So here comes Nelson Piquet Jr. across the line to complete lap 1 and head down towards the left-hander. He's done a 24.5. We're looking for a pole position lap time somewhere, I'd predict, in the mid to low 22s. So Piquet not running at his full power on that previous lap. Maybe he will start to this time around as he comes down into the left-hander of 4, which again opens up a lot on the exit. And he's going to come through the first sector in a couple of moments' time as he just comes through this long right-hander. And across the first sector, oh, a bit of a lock-up from Piquet. He's turned up to the full 200 now because he's done a 28.3 in the first sector, but that could have cost him a bit of time. Yeah,
definitely just braked and instantly locked up there. So it kind of, you know, can ruin your rhythm a little bit going into the corner. And hopefully it's not affected him too much because first sector was okay. There's been a little bit of an improvement from Bruno Senna into sector 1, but let's follow the rest of the lap here with Nelson and see how it goes. Sector 2 is good so far.
Yeah, Bruno Senna has gone 0.2 quicker than Piquet in sector 1, as you say, Mike. So Senna in the Mahindra looking strong. We'll wait and see what his middle sector brings. You can see it there, actually. He's done a 22.0. So, whoa, 3.10 slower. Piquet clouts the curbs coming through the final corners. What's this lap time going to be for the Brazilian across the line? And it's a 1 minute 22. I think he's going to be in the 22s, 0.4. Good lap from Piquet, nevertheless. And he really went for it in that final sector. But Senna is about 0.2 down, I think, on Piquet Jr.'s time at the moment as he comes out of the final corner, sliding it all the way out. The car really working underneath him as he comes across the line. What's it going to be for Senna? It's second quickest, a 10.5 down. But here comes now Antonio Felix da Costa across the line. Trulli is quickest in sectors 1 and 2. So Jarno Trulli could jump up to provisional pole position. He's about to come through the final corner now. The Italian, the one-lap specialist in his Formula 1 days, now about to come across the line. Are we going to see him move to the top of the timing screens? Trulli across the line, provisionally pole, 21.547. That's 0.8 quicker than Piquet. That's a wonderful lap. Across the line comes Liuzzi. He's half a second slower.
That was a very good lap from Jarno there. That last sector was very good. At the middle sector, though, he pulled out a good chunk on everybody else. A good 3/10.
Goodness me, that was a really strong lap from Jarno Trulli. half a second quicker than Antonio Liuzzi. And here we have a look again at Nelson Piquet. Now, this was his front right lockup. That would have cost him a bit of time, but he really clouted. He took more than the curves here. He took the sort of inner curve.
Yeah, they normally use the red and the yellow part. Really went wide there, missed the apex, came out wide. Yeah, he's already, if this was a start to a lap, it's not a good start.
No, we'll see when he comes through the first sector, which is just through the next right-hander at turn 5, the long sweeping right that goes into the narrow, tight left at 6, and he's 1.5 seconds down in sector 1, so he's on a 150 lap, so he's not pushing, so that doesn't really matter too much for Piquet at the time being. Now into the right.
So another preparation lap, And
I think that was Piquet's team radio.
Yes, if not, Dortmund.
Not quite sure where that team radio is coming from, but everyone's doing slow laps at the moment to just build themselves up again.
Yeah, that's it. You know, try and cool things down, but obviously keep temperature in the brakes, in the tyres, and just think about where you need to find time on your previous best lap, and hopefully now we'll see a quick one again from Nelson.
Here he comes across the line then. He's going to be a couple of seconds down, but maybe he's turned it up to 11 and he's going for it now, flying down in towards the first corner. Again, the back end's like a pendulum, doesn't it? It really swings the car around.
You can really hear the tyres squeal as well. It's great.
Da Costa is on a full speed lap at 200, but he's 0.6 of a second down after the middle sector. This could still put him ahead of Nelson Piquet Jr. if he can really hook up the final sequence of corners into 12 and 13, then 14, and then 16 and 17. Again, not really troubling the curves on the inside there, Antonio Felix da Costa. Out he comes, heading towards the line now, and it's been no personal bests for him either. Across the line, is he going to improve? No, he's not. So 1.1 seconds down on Jarno Trulli's time. Meanwhile, here's Nelson Piquet Jr. His first sector is a 28.3, so that's 0.2 down on Trulli's time. He's now 0.3 down on Trulli's time. He's still set to improve on his own personal best, but Jarno Trulli has really hooked it up out there. This is Piquet, who's the second place man in the championship, 4 points off the lead, and they're really struggling to get that back end into gear, aren't they?
Yeah, and the only person improving at the moment on his previous lap is Bruno Senna, so it'll be interesting if he can continue this on through the lap and try and jump back up.
So here comes Piquet across the line. He remains third, improves his lap time slightly, then goes straight on, but Bruno Senna has had a poor middle sector, so he's about 0.4 down on Jarno Trulli after the second sector, so he could manage to get in front of Nelson Piquet. Piquet there, his job is done as we go on board now with Senna underneath the canopy roof. Whoa, big slide. Keeps it together. They're really having to wrestle the cars through this final sequence of corners. Gets the power down quite smoothly on the exit. Fourth at the moment, Bruno Senna. Are we going to have any improvement from him? Across the line, no, we're not. He's half a second down in the end, and it all went in that final sector. So that is everyone completing, I think, their 2-lap run. Maybe, well, no, we've still got the 2 Trulli cars actually still to go. Trulli, after sector 2, is 0.2 down on his best, which is provisionally pole position.
Yeah, he may have won this lap because no one else is going to improve, and he may as well save the tyres for the race, but we'll see if he finishes it here. Yep, he's going to finish the lap.
Through the final corner then comes Jarno. Liuzzi has done a personal best in the middle sector, so he may be able to find an improvement too. Trulli comes across the line and doesn't improve. He's half a second slower. Meanwhile, here comes Antonio Liuzzi, the Italian teammate, out of the final corner now and across the line. And he does improve, only by a couple of tenths of a second, but it's first and second for Trulli at the end of that session. And to be honest, out of Piquet, Senna, da Costa, I probably, if someone had forced me to make a bet, I'd have put the 3 of them in front of the 2 Trulli cars.
I know, yeah, what a great job by the team. You know, Jarno up there with Antonio Liuzzi. Yeah, I mean, that was a great lap from Jarno. A good, you know, we'd never seen that kind of gap between the cars. You know, nearly 0.5.
Strange enough, I had understeering with this car.
Yeah, maybe that's what you need to go quicker under it, a bit of understeer. you know, normally the guys are fighting the rear end round here, so maybe they've just got it dialed in.
Yeah, it certainly looks like they've done something this weekend, really, because they are looking very, very strong after that first session. And there is Antonio Felix da Costa, 5th place for him, so it's going to be, with 15 drivers still to go, it's going to be another tough race for him after starting at the back, having crashed in qualifying at Monaco at Tabac. Had to start way down at the back of the grid, managed to fight his way back up into the points, but nevertheless it was a tough day for the Amlin Aguri driver. As Trulli now winds his way around and will head back to the pits, and for the first time I think this season he'll be sitting and waiting in where the top 3 wait to see whether they'll be progressing through to the next round. In a couple of minutes time we're going to have the second qualifying session. There's Scott Speed, who will be out in it, but it's Jarno Trulli, Antonio Liuzzi, a Trulli 1-2, who are first and second at the end of that session. And Scott Speed looking forward to getting out. So here's a look at the standings after the first session. Jarno Trulli, Antonio Liuzzi quickest, first and second. Nelson Piquet Jr. third. Bruno Senna fourth. Antonio Felix da Costa in fifth. Really strong performance from Jarno Trulli, but we've still got 15 drivers left to go here in Berlin. There is Piquet's car being weighed by Carlos Funes, the technical delegate. He's got his special rulers out, and this is going to check that the line between the roll hoop and the front of the car is above where Piquet's helmet is. But now we've got both of the Andretti guys going out in this second session, and they've both looked quick so far, Mike.
Yeah, they have. You know, Scott's been pretty impressive in the last practice, and John Byrne as well has been up there. So it's going to be interesting, this one. I mean, it looks like you just get the 1 lap on the tyres. I mean, it looks like maybe they can hang on for the second lap, but ultimately, you know, it might just be that first lap. So, yeah, it's going to be, you know, whoever does the best job here. And, yeah, great job by Jarno, though. You know, good time. I think that's going to hold quite well, actually, compared to, you know, the next sessions coming up.
He has had some strong qualifying performances this season, truly. Malaysia in particular, he was very strong, started up towards the front of the grid and was running up in 3rd place in the early stages. He has had, well, his best result of the season was a 4th place at the next race in Punta del Este, but from Buenos Aires onwards it's been a difficult season for the Trulli team. But it looks as though things are getting back on track here. Jaime Alguersuari getting ready to head out in the Virgin car, and he was very quick as well in free practice 2, ended up near the top of the times. We had the top 9 covered by half a second in free practice 2. So Alguersuari is very much going to be there or thereabouts. He'll be hoping to find the limit as he gets ready to go out in the next session. So it's he, the 2 Virgin cars, Stefan Sarrazin, and the other Amlin Aguri machine of Salvador Duran. Great to see the stands filling up. This is the only major race in Germany for single-seaters this year. We can now hear from Nelson Piquet. He's with Nicky.
Piquet, probably not the result that you were hoping for. Saw you slipping and sliding a bit out there, brakes locking up. What happened?
It's hard to say, you know. It's a hard track. It's a different surface. You know, I don't know if we're missing something. It's not the usual tracks that we've been going to, you know. But yeah, I mean, on the positive side, it's a track, a really wide track with a lot of chance of overtaking, and if we manage our race pretty well, that's the most important part, you know. Qualifying is important in some tracks. I don't think it's going to be that important in this one. So I'm not sure how it's going to end up at the end of qualifying, but hopefully we'll be close to the top 10, let's say. For the top 10, I think it's still a very good chance of scoring a lot of points.
As you mentioned, yeah, the track is wide. You've got some runoff areas. Does that mean you can be less risk-averse when you're driving?
Yeah, in qualifying, but in the race, you know, it's all about the consumption and about the battery and about the temperature. So we're going to have to it's not going to really matter how wide the track is. We're going to have to save a lot of energy and really be cautious on that area. So yeah. So well, now look forward to the race.
Thanks, Nelson.
Piquet there, absolutely right. As he takes a seat, there's Lucas de Grassi. He's getting in the zone ahead of his run in group number 3 out the back of the Apt garage. The man leading the championship. Qualifying group 2 underway. Jaime Alguersuari there in the Virgin car. He's out. So are the two Andrettis, Jean-Eric Vergne and Scott Speed. Stefan Sarrazin in the Venturi and Salvador Duran in the in a melee down at JFK Avenue. So as a result, they didn't really manage on 150 kilowatt power. Just so you know, track limits at turn 1 are not being monitored. So at turn 1 you can go as wide as you like. Salvador Duran, I think, is on a full speed lap, but he's not going particularly quickly. Jean-Eric Vergne is on 200 and he's just gone faster than anyone. Vergne, quickest of anyone in sector 1. He's 0.2 of a second quicker than Scott Speed. This is Jaime Alguersuari coming into turn number 9. He's running at 150 at the moment, but here is Jean-Eric Vergne. Comes through the middle sector. What's the middle sector like? Through the left-hander, 22.1 for Jean-Eric Vergne in the middle sector. So that's 0.4 down on Jarno Trulli. So that's tough. He's got to go for it now in the final sector.
Yeah, it's pretty neat and tidy so far. But yeah, as you said, that middle sector is a little bit down. But Scott Speed, on the other hand, his middle sector is good.
Across the line then comes Jean-Eric Vergne. What's it going to be? It's a 22.0. That puts him 3rd. Half a second down on Jarno Trulli. Scott Speed comes across the line and he goes 4th quickest. So very, very close to the back of Jean-Eric Vergne. Just 0.1 of a second between them. Alguersuari, meanwhile, is looking quickest of anyone. He's matched Trulli in sector 1, a 10th quicker in sector 2. So what can Jaime Alguersuari do? The Spaniard coming into the final corner now through the left-hander. Nice and smooth on the exit, rushes right up towards the wall. Are we going to see Alguersuari jump to the top of the times? Across the line he comes, and it's 8th position. Wasn't expecting that.
Yeah, the last sector.
2 and up on the fastest in that lap. So just getting done on the next one, mate, please. Look after your tyres.
The final sector was a second slower for Jaime Alguersuari.
Yeah, it was
First
really
sector,
strange.
second sector fine. A second in the final sector.
Something must have happened there. You know, to lose that much time in that sector. I mean, he is very tight and twisty, but his first 2 sectors were very good, especially the middle one. You know, purple in sector 2. There was a very impressive one by Luizzi. So,
and Stefan Sarrazin's gone 2nd quickest. So Sarrazin has split the 2 Trulli cars. The Venturi machine is up into 2nd position now, and there's Jarno still on provisional pole position. Thumbs up from him, but a great lap from Stefan Sarrazin. That could already be his best qualifying performance of the season so far, even with 10 men to go, and that means Nelson Piquet Jr. is no longer in 3rd place, and he can go back to the garage and try and find out what's gone on. No words to Charles Pic, no words of advice. And so Trulli, Sarrazin, Liuzzi, Vergne, Speed, Piquet Jr., Duran, Senna, Da Costa, Alguersuari, the top 10 at the moment. The combined age of that front row would be something special as they come through the right-hander now. This is Jean-Eric Vergne we're watching. 4th quickest. So his first sector was okay. It was the middle sector where he lost 0.4 to Jarno, and he's 0.5 of a second down. So there are the 2 Trulli drivers looking very happy with themselves. What's Vergne done in sector 1? Now he's up. That's the first sub-28 we've seen in the first sector, a 27.9. Scott Speed has gone slightly slower than he has managed before in sector 1, but it's still pretty good. But Jean-Eric Vergne does a 27.9 in sector 1. That's Speed in 2nd place, losing the back end. But it's Vergne up in front who's going to be the quickest man of anyone as they come through the middle sector. What can he do? It's a 21.8 in the middle sector, so he's all in all quicker than Jarno Trulli. Scott Speed is slower again in the middle sector. So it's Verne coming through the final few corners. The Andretti car just up the road. Here he is. Oh, he's throwing it through there, isn't he? Beautiful stuff. How smooth is he going to be through the final corner? Already had a pole position this season in Punta del Este. Swings it right out to the barriers. It's Trulli on provisional pole position at the moment. Across the line comes Verne, and it's third. It's a slow final sector for Jean-Eric Verne. He lost 4/10 to Jarno Trulli in that final sector. So that seems like you've really got to hook it up.
Yeah, you could see the onboard from Scott Speed. It looked like his tyres were just completely going away. Maybe that's the case with the final sector, you know, on their second attempt. They get into that last sector and they're just losing the tyres, losing the performance. And again, yeah, Jaime sliding around there as well, missing the apex. And maybe it's just a little bit too much for the tyres.
Maybe Alguersuari can improve on his current position, though. He's currently in 10th place and he jumps up to 7th, but still, he lost a lot of time in that final sector, half a second. So I think that's everyone has completed their 2 quick runs. Stefan Sarrazin might have one more to go. We'll keep an eye out on the Venturi driver. Across the line he comes now to do a 34.7. So this might be his final full-speed attack, Stefan Sarrazin. Very experienced racer, races at Le Mans. Plenty of success at Le Mans, plenty of success in rallying. He almost won the Monte Carlo rally a couple of years ago, ended up losing out on the final couple of stages, but he was there or thereabouts. And what's he got in the first sector? 27.9 is the quickest first sector we've seen from Jean-Eric Verne, and it's a 28.1 for Sarrazin. So he's matched Jarno Trulli, the provisional pole position sitter. Oh, and he's been held up by Alguersuari. And that is really going to frustrate Sarrazin, and it may well see Alguersuari getting a little bit of a telling off. He's going to keep going, Sarrazin, but... well, that's Sarrazin's team radio, and if you can speak French, I apologise for the language. That's annoying.
That's a shame. Yeah, that's a real shame, because Stefan was on an improvement over his previous best lap. So, yeah, he's going to be annoyed with that. His second sector was really compromised by Alguersuari there. So, yeah, he's going to be annoyed. You can see he's throwing it around. He's still trying to get something out of it, but I don't know, fingers crossed, maybe.
He lost 0.4 of a second in the middle sector, so if you can really hook it up, he might be all right. Across the line he comes, still in second place, but no, he loses half a second on that lap, and that's galling, isn't it?
That's annoying. It'd be interesting to see if there's any penalty because of that. You know, really getting in the way of someone on their hot lap is very annoying, but yeah, it'll be interesting to see if the stewards do anything about that one.
There's not really much doubt that he got in the way there, is there? I mean,
yeah, you could see he knew. Yeah, he knew he was in the way. He saw him a bit too late.
Yeah. So that was Jaime Alguersuari getting in the way of Jean-Eric Verne, and Alex Ty with the shake of the head. Not quite sure what the shake of the head means. But Liuzzi's just been told he's free to go, so he can head off because he's not going to be in the top 3. But a photo of the 2 Trulli drivers together, because Jarno Trulli is still on provisional pole position.
Yeah, he's looking good here. Looking good. I mean, people have beaten his sectors, but it's about putting the whole lap together. And I think he just put a clean lap together, and be interesting. These next 2, you know, we got some really strong guys coming up. You know, Sam Bird, D'Ambrosio, Duval, Prost, Buemi.
It's going to be very, very interesting. So here's how it stands halfway through this qualifying session. Jarno Trulli still the quickest man of all, 0.4 quicker than the rest of the pack. Incredible stuff. Then it's Sarrazin in second for Venturi. Third is Jean-Eric Verne. Fourth, Tonio Liuzzi. Fifth, Scott Speed. Piquet Jr., championship challenger, down in 6th, and we're only halfway through the session. Alguersuari down in 7th. Durant, Senna and Da Costa completing the top 10, but we're only halfway through qualifying here in Berlin. So, Jarno Trulli lurking there on provisional pole position. Stefan Sarrazin, great lap from him, could have been even quicker. Third is Jean-Eric Verne, half a second down on Jarno Trulli. Is he going to be happy with third position? Let's find out. He's down there talking to Nicky Shields.
So, Jean-Eric Verne currently in third. Thank you. Currently in third. Are you pleased with that, or are you hoping to put it on pole?
Well, obviously you always want to be on pole, but this race is going to be a long one, difficult, a lot of costing and many places to overtake, so I'm sure there will be plenty of opportunity. I'm pretty happy with my lap. I just don't know how, this guy did 4.5 tenths quicker. It was amazingly quick, and but nevertheless, I'm sure in the race we can do something good. I don't know if I'm going to hold that third position, but at least, I will be more or less in the front row, avoid any kind of crash at the start for once, and it will be good. But yeah, I'm pleased with the lap. I don't think I could have done much quicker.
And it looks like tyre wear could be a bit of a concern for this afternoon. Do you think that's going to be a problem for you?
If it's a problem for me, it's going to be a problem for everybody. But I have to say that I've been used with the Pirelli tyres that wear a lot, so I know more or less how to drive it. So I don't know if it's going to be an advantage, but I think that should be fun.
Enjoy, thank you.
So third place at the moment here at Berlin Tempelhof for Jean-Eric Verne. Stefan Sarrazin lying in second place. Jarno Trulli topping the times. These are the next two groups we've got coming up. Jerome D'Ambrosio, Nico Prost, Lucas de Grassi, Nick Heidfeld and Charles Pic out in Group 3. That's going to be a very strong group. And then the final group, Bird, Chandok, Duval, Buemi and Abt. So we've got real pole position contenders in those two. But then, to be honest, I would never have said Jarno Trulli was a pole position contender. But here he is. 4 pole positions in his Formula 1 career. His last one in 2009 at the Bahrain Grand Prix. And he actually he was meant to start on pole position for that famous 2005 race at Indianapolis, where all of the Michelin runners pulled into the pits, actually. So hopefully we don't get that here, otherwise it'll be a very quiet grid. But Nick Heidfeld there, getting in the zone. Trulli's best qualifying so far this season has been a 4th place at Malaysia. But Heidfeld in his home race, he's not from Berlin, he's from Mönchengladbach, out in the west of Germany, just outside of Dusseldorf. But he is imagining our VT from earlier and what he told us, and he's going to try and put that into practice out there on the circuit. And there is the man to beat, I think, Lucas de Grassi, championship leader. The pressure's on him, though. With a time like that, he's going to be going, how did that happen?
Yeah, he may well be. I think a lot of people are thinking that one. But yeah, it's going to be a very interesting one this session. I think Nick, with Stefan being up in P2, obviously the Venturi cars are looking strong. So I think Nick Heidfeld's got a really good chance. But obviously Lucas de Grassi was P1 in practice 2. So yeah, he's going to be fast as well.
Verne still has the fastest first sector of anyone in this qualifying session so far, 27.9, but couldn't quite get it hooked up in that final sector. See you later, Jean-Eric. He's currently at 3rd. Scott Speed currently 5th. And a little chat with Jeff Thorman and Roger Griffiths.
I don't know how it's supposed to be. Yeah. You lost 2 tenths in the last sector. Compared to the one before? Yeah. But still, maybe
So Verne there saying maybe P2 was possible, but I've no idea how Jarno Trulli is 4 tenths quicker than the rest of the pack. So now we've got out qualifying Group 3. Jerome D'Ambrosio for Dragon, Nico Prost for e.dams, Lucas de Grassi for Abt, Nick Heidfeld for Venturi, and Charles Pic for Next EV with Team China Racing. And as I say, this is going to be a strong group. Nico Prost has had 2 pole positions this season. Lucas de Grassi is the man leading the championship. Nick Heidfeld's at his home race. And Charles Pic might struggle a little bit because of the Team China car as well, with Piquet only being 6th quickest. It seems that Team China haven't got it quite hooked up this weekend. There is the Frenchman turning into the left-hander. But again, we'll probably see them do 1 lap at 150 kilowatts and then turn it up to 200 for their attack at pole position. But pole here, as everyone who's not getting pole, Mike, is saying, it's not too bad if you don't get pole here, but if you're 18th, it's still going to be tough.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, the further up the field you can start, the easier your job is going to be. But it sounds like, from what they're saying, with tyre management, the energy consumption per lap seems quite high, so there's going to be a lot of saving done. And, yeah, it's going to open up opportunity for different strategies going on here and there. But that's what we want. We want an interesting race, don't we? So it's going to be fun, I'm sure.
Across the line comes Nico Prost, who, like Stefan Sarrazin, actually sits quite high in the car compared to some of the other drivers. Car 3 is under investigation. That's Jaime Alguersuari. Not sure what that's for. Oh, yes, I am.
The waving episode.
Looks as though de Grassi was just getting out the way. This is Nico Prost in the blue and yellow e.dams car, turning through the left-hander of turn 4. Now flat out through the right-hand kink at 5. And across the timing line. And he's a quarter of a second down. So that might be this might be full power from Nico Prost if he's only a quarter of a second down in sector 1 at 28.3. So Prost has come straight out of the pits and has gone straight for it at 200 kilowatts. So Nico's going for it as he then sweeps through. There's Loic Duval putting his helmet on. He's going to be going out in the final session at Group 4. Prost has done the fastest middle sector of anyone, a 21.5 in the middle sector.
Wow, that's good. A tenth faster than Jarno's time, I believe.
Yep.
Ooh, nice little slide through there.
You can hear it squealing away. Now just a couple of corners to go through the left-hander of turn 17 and out onto the start-finish straight. So not the best first sector, strong middle sector. What's the final sector got in store for Nico Prost? Across the line comes the Frenchman, 6th quickest. Again, he lost, gone in very deep into turn 1. But that was okay because that lap was pretty much done for. But again, 0.4 of a second down in that final sector. As we go with Lucas de Grassi out of the final corner, turns it up to 200, I'd imagine. And yes, he does. You can see it there on the telemetry on the right-hand side. Full power down to turn 1.
Yeah, rolling all the speed into the apex and just getting on the power hard out of here. And nice wide entry into 3. We'll miss the apex a little bit there, but got on the power early enough on exit. Again, good entry speed here and maximizing the exit for the long straight down now into turn 6. And this should go over. It's the end of the first sector. And he's
up.
Yep.
He's about a 1/10 of a second up on Jarno Trulli's first sector split. A little bit out of shape there as he now comes into turn 8 and 9. It's a 28.0 for Lucas de Grassi, so slightly slower than Verne's first sector, but quicker than Trulli's. He's having to hang on. He's already out of the corner and he's still hanging on.
Yeah, I mean, you think it'd be easy enough to keep it over to the right, but it's obviously not. The rear really wants to slide all the time, and as the lap goes on and on, the rear tyres get hotter and hotter, and it starts to really scum around.
Only 0.02 of a second between Jarno Trulli on provisional pole position and this man, Lucas de Grassi. De Grassi's in, slower than him at the moment, coming through the final sequence of corners. Just 2 to go for the Brazilian, back end trying to get away from him. Keeps it all together, nice and smooth out of the final corner. What's this going to be across the line for de Grassi? Can he challenge Trulli up at the top? It's second place. 0.5 of a second slower than that man, Jarno Trulli, but he'll have another chance. Meanwhile, we've got Nick Heidfeld on the circuit. A 28.2 in the first sector, a good middle sector as well. This could put Heidfeld up into the top 5. The Venturi driver comes across the timing line, which is just there, and it's 3rd place for Heidfeld. So good lap from him. Meanwhile, here comes D'Ambrosio. Reasonable from D'Ambrosio, not quite as quick as the rest of the guys. He might be sort of top 6 with this one as D'Ambrosio comes across the line for Dragon, and it's 8th place for him. So there's our first batch of runs over, and de Grassi has only got to find a 1/10 of a second to take pole position.
Yeah.
How easy is that?
A 1/10 of a second is hard, or it depends, isn't it? It's hard. If you think you got a 1/10, it's easy. But yeah, no purples from Lucas there, but just put the lap together, and 21.6, only less than a 1/10 from Jarno, so it's very close now at the top. Getting closer, actually. You know, that advantage that Jarno had is really shrunk down, so I'm sure he's sitting there a little bit nervous at the moment. Wonder if he's going to stay on top.
Now this is Nico Prost we're watching out on the circuit. He must have done his first quick lap. Yes, he has, a 22.1, 0.6 of a second down on Jarno Trulli. So he's really got to get himself up into contention in this final run. And we're just listening into his team radio there, not picking up anything at the moment. We have the team radios live open, so if they talk, they talk. If they don't, they don't. Charles Pic coming into the left-hander now of 4. And he may well be on a full-speed lap as he comes through the right-hander. What's his first sector split? Yes, he is, a 28.4. Sounded like a bit of a lock-up coming down into the left-hander. couple of tenths down in Sector 1. De Grassi is out there again. We'll keep an eye out on whether he's going full chat. Peak about to come across the Sector 2 timing beam now. And he is 0.3 of a second down, really squealing those tyres. But I tell you what, he could potentially out-qualify his teammate here. Lucas de Grassi, meanwhile, as we just saw on the running clock down at the bottom, has gone quickest of anyone in Sector 1 at 27.9. So now, if he can just repeat the other two sectors, then he's going to be taking provisional pole position away. Here comes Charles Pic through the final corner now. De Grassi's lost a bit of time in the middle sector. Where's Pic going to go? Across the line. And it is 13th for Charles Pic, but now we're on board with De Grassi into the final sequence of corners. He's just fractionally slower. He's actually slightly slower than he was last time around, despite that best first sector of anyone. So it's all going to be about this final sequence of corners for Lucas de Grassi. Out, right up to the wall comes the championship leader. Can he take provisional pole position across the line? No, it's still second place. So that man Jarno is still on provisional pole position. But here comes Jerome D'Ambrosio, a personal best of anyone in Sector 1, a good Sector 2, but he's a couple of tenths down actually in Sector 2. Here comes Nico Prost out of the final corner. Any improvement from him? Yes, he goes fourth quickest. What can D'Ambrosio do here for Dragon? Across the line. Fourth quickest now for D'Ambrosio. So D'Ambrosio fourth, Prost fifth. But it's still Jarno Trulli holding on to provisional pole. Now this is a replay of Charles Pic. Just probably having a bit of a front left lock-up.
Locking up, forcing him wide. Yeah, I think it's, the second lap. We have seen some improvements though, just putting the lap together, I think, seems the hardest bit of the session.
Now Heidfeld is still out there. He is currently third quickest, but I think he has one more full power run to go, which is what we're on board with here. We'll get an idea as he comes through the first sector split, which is that line just there. Here he comes, and he's up. He's up at 28.0, half a tenth up on Jarno Trulli. It's not the quickest lap time in the first sector we've seen, but it's quicker than Jarno. Into the right-hander now of turn number 9. Gets the apex nicely. That car looks a lot more stable than, De Grassi, who was fighting it all the way around.
Yeah, it does, yeah. It looks quite neat and tidy. Oh, another little lock snatch. Oh, and that's
we
set
shouldn't
him
have
wide.
said that, should we?
I know, we jinxed him, wouldn't we?
So he's just... And I think that's it. He's backed off now, hasn't he? So that's it over for Nick Heidfeld, and that's it over then for Q3. Heidfeld won't do any better than third. A shame, because he was up after the first sector. But all of Trulli's time has come in that final sector. He's consistently a tenth, 2 tenths quicker than everyone else in that final sector. As Heidfeld comes back into the pits, the checkered flag comes out. The Venturi teams turn off the telly, and this is why.
Yeah, as you can see, he just tried to eke a little bit more time out in the braking, and you just snatched that front, and he's just sent him wide, missed his apex, and it's all it takes, just that trying to get that fraction later on the brakes, and it just won't have it. And he knew then he'd lost his best lap, and it was time to abort the lap.
But still a third place for Nick Heidfeld at the moment. This is going to be a real... Someone said, oh, if we get rain, because you can see the clouds in the background, rain is a bit of a possibility here. If we get rain, we could get a bit of a jumbled up grid, but I think we may well get a bit of a jumbled up grid anyway. So, end of Q3, just 5 drivers left, and Jarno Trulli is still holding on to provisional pole position. Lucas de Grassi is second, Nick Heidfeld is third at the moment, D'Ambrosio fourth, Nico Prost in fifth. So De Grassi's done a good job in terms of our championship challengers. Then we got 3 Frenchmen in a row at the moment: Prost, Sarrazin and Verne. Liuzzi, Speed and Piquet completing the top 10. Piquet was hoping to be inside the top 10 with that lap time, but he may get forced out because Alguersuari, Duran, Pic, Senna, Da Costa complete the top 15. But we've still got 5 drivers left in the battle for pole position here in Berlin. So, Q4 about to come. Sam Bird, very quick driver. Chanduk, quick driver. Duval, quick driver. Buemi, pole in Monaco. Apt, pole in Long Beach. The whole crowd are watching, and Alejandro Agag is watching as well. The CEO of Formula E coming to congratulate Jarno Trulli, and then gets out of the way because technically he's not going to be second on the grid. Agag. That man Lucas de Grassi is. And A really strong drive from De Grassi. Great to see so many fans here, though, at the Berlin E-Prix on around the apron of the airport here at Tempelhof. And there's the focus of Sebastian Buemi. Third place in the championship. Lights to flag victory in Monaco. To do that again, he'll need to stick it on pole position. You know him well, Mike. Well, actually, first of all, we'll hear from Lucas de Grassi. He's currently second, almost robbed pole position away from Jarno Trulli. We can hear from him now. He's with Nicky.
Well, Lucas de Grassi, another consistent performance from you. Are you slightly disappointed, though, that you haven't got that pole?
No, I did my job. I did what I could with my car, 21.6. Jarno did a fantastic lap on a 21.5. We know Jarno, he's very quick. And yeah, there is no one here to complain that I've blocked this time. So why don't you ask him why he's back there if somebody blocked him this time? I'm doing my job. P2, again, consistent in top there. So I hope it stays this way.
The only thing is we've still got Sebastian Buemi still to come.
Still, there is one group. That's exactly what I said. I'm P2 at the moment. I've done my job again. Did the best what the Audi Sport Hub team could give me. And again, didn't block anyone, so still up there.
All right, thanks, Lucas.
I'm not sure what to say, but that's de Grassi having a go at Nelson Piquet Jr., who claimed he got blocked last time out in Monaco. Piquet Jr. down in 10th place, so that rivalry continues to intensify. Qualifying Group 4 about to get underway. Sam Bird for Virgin, Karun Chanduk for Mahindra, Loic Duval for Dragon, Sebastian Buemi, the man there for e.dams, and Daniel Abt in car 66 for the Abt team. And Buemi is a man challenging for the championship, third in the championship. He'd love to get a pole position here, and Mike, you race with him in the World Endurance Championship, and he seems to really enjoy doing Formula E and really be keen to, as everyone is, obviously, to take the title.
Oh yeah, he's really enjoying the challenge of the Formula E series. You know, not easy. He by no means thinks it's that way. You know, he's got a really strong teammate and obviously a really strong field with all the well-known established drivers that are on this grid. So yeah, he's got his hands full here as well with, you know, Jarno and Lucas de Grassi doing a really good job with the lap time. So it's going to be interesting if they can beat this in this session. I think Seb maybe is the favourite to do it, but you know, you can't discount Sam. He was talking about earlier, he's got a new battery, so he feels confident that he's going to have the speed. Obviously, Daniel Abt as well, Loic Duval. You know, we've seen Jerome D'Ambrosio up in P4 with the Dragon car, so I'm expecting some good things from them. And obviously Karun, so you know, this last one's going to be really tight.
Nico Prost walks back. He's currently provisionally in 5th position on the grid as Q4 gets underway. In under 10 minutes time we'll know who's going to be on pole position for the 8th round of the FIA Formula E Championship. Loic Duval in no rush to head out in the Dragon car, as Mike says. Jerome D'Ambrosio 4th quickest at the moment. It's still pretty tight. We've still got the top 9 cars covered by half a second from Trulli down to Scott Speed. Then there's Karun Chanduk for the Mahindra team heading out onto the track round through turn 1, and we've seen most guys do an outlap, then a 150 kilowatt lap, and then turn it up to full qualifying trim for 200 kilowatts. Only Nico Prost, I think, went flat out straight away. Sam Bird out there on the circuit, making his way around in the Virgin car. Race winner in Malaysia, but since then it hasn't quite worked out for the Englishman. He was 3rd in Beijing, 1st in Malaysia, then retired in Punta del Este after crashing out by himself at the first chicane, and since then hasn't been back on the podium. And there's Loic Duval, supreme sports car racer, drafted into Formula E halfway through the season at Dragon, take over from Oriol Servia. There's Jean-Paul Driot on the right, Alain Prost on the left. As now out of the final corner comes Sebastian Buemi. He's had 2 pole positions so far this season, Buemi, but he's still cruising around, I think, by the looks of it, on the run down into the first corner. No further action for Jaime Alguersuari.
Well,
that's interesting.
Yeah, I would have thought he'd maybe got something, you know, maybe type of penalty for interfering with Stefan Sarazan's lap, but no, there's no action taken. So maybe they didn't want to deal with the paperwork. I'm not sure.
No, absolutely. So yeah, that's an interesting one. I think Stefan Sarazan might be a bit annoyed about that, down in 6th place for the Venturi team, but great to see them running towards the front. A 3rd and a 6th at the moment on the grid for them. All of the cars out there are on 150 slow laps, 150 kilowatts of power that they're using. During the race you can use between 130 and 150, and in qualifying you get 2 laps at 200 kilowatts of power. Karun Chandok out there as well, coming down into the left-hander for the Mahindra team. Then there's Sam Bird. So who's going to be our first man through? I think it's going to be Sebastian Buemi, isn't it? He's the first man out of the pits to set a quick lap. We're on board with him now as he comes into the right at 12 underneath the canopy and back out onto the beautiful sunshine. The sun's just popped out here in Berlin. Blue skies all around. Will it be blue cars on pole position as Buemi comes across the line now? Turns it up to 11 and heads down towards turn 1. On the brakes, swings it in.
Neat and tidy through there, good exit. And yeah, it's hard to tell sometimes if it's going to be a quick lap. Some of the guys are really hanging it out, some guys are super smooth. It's quite hard to tell, but so far no mistakes. Little lock up there, missed the apex. As I said that, no mistakes. I seem to be jinxing people today.
Let's see what his first sector split is. You can see it down there in the bottom left, and he's a 10th down on Trulli. So he's not out of the ballpark, but he is a little slower. Sounds like someone else just had a lock-up. Might have been Daniel Abt as he comes down through to complete the first sector, and he's a 10th down, and we've got a yellow flag out there. So someone maybe has had a little misdemeanor. Abt is a 10th down as well in the first sector. So both of them doing 28.2s. A good middle sector though from Buemi, but he's still just under 0.2 of a second slower than Jarno Trulli. Daniel Abt across the middle sector line now, and he too is slightly quicker than Buemi, but we saw where Buemi lost the time coming down into turn 4. He's now about to come through the final sequence of corners, through the right, through the left, out onto the start-finish straight again. What can the Swiss driver do? 2 pole positions so far this season, and that puts him 3rd quickest, the fastest final sector of anyone, 31.6, and that seems to be the crucial one. So if he can tidy up his first sector, I think Buemi's looking pretty strong as Abt comes across the line, and he will go 10th quickest for Abt. But Buemi's looking in a good place right now, I think. Also quickest Loic Duval, 28.1 in the first sector, 21.8 in the second sector. So Duval could come up to challenge the top 5. Chandok comes across the line and goes 18th quickest. But here is Duval into the final sequence of corners. Sam Bird hasn't done his full power lap yet, so we'll keep an eye out for the Virgin driver as across the line comes Duval, and it's 7th quickest for Duval. So it looks to me as though Buemi's looking pretty strong as Bird makes his way through the back section now.
Looked like he did an extra slow lap for some reason, Sam.
Here he is coming down into turn 1. Oh, he's lost it. So maybe that was his first quick lap.
Yeah, didn't get a chance to do the lap, just locked the rears as soon as he braked going into turn 1. No hint of a locked front, so just too far rearward on brake bias or something there, and just caught him out.
So now Sam Bird is on his full power lap. He might as well get on with it, because this is his only chance now at setting a quick lap time. On board we go with the Virgin driver through the right-hander. What's he going to be doing in the first sector? 0.3 of a second down, gets on the brakes, turns it into the left.
Neat and tidy through there. Use all the road. And this is tricky. Braking, turning all the way in. And that was pretty neat and tidy. Other guys using more road on the exit, but he kept it a little bit tighter there, maybe just to look after his rear tyres. And also down into 11. Looked pretty good. Using all the road as well on exit.
And a little bit more, 0.6 of a second down though after that middle sector, so this is going to put Bird quite a way down the order, that we could be sort of looking at 14th, 15th positions with his teammate Jaime Alguersuari potentially, as he comes through the final sequence of corners. 2 third places so far this season in qualifying, Sam Bird, in Malaysia and Miami. But I don't think he's going to match that here. Runs out towards the wall. Across the line comes the Englishman. Where's this going to put him? It's 15th place. So it's 14th and 15th for the 2 Virgin cars. Daniel Abt is out there now, coming through the first sector. Oh, big lockup. He did the fastest first sector of anyone, though, Abt.
Yeah.
But I don't know how much did that lockup cost him, do you think? Did he get the apex?
He still got to the apex. Maybe he missed it a tiny bit, but he still got there. And doesn't look a bad luck. He's really using the... Oh, big slide there on the rear, on the exit of 9 there.
Through the middle sector, and he's still there or thereabouts. Only 3,000ths down on Jarno Trulli. So a neat final sector for Daniel Abt, and he could be starting very strongly in his home Grand Prix. Another man from the west of Germany, Kempen, near the Dutch border. But nevertheless, his home race as he swings it into the final 2 corners now. All looks pretty neat and tidy. How's it going to be on the exit? Right up towards the wall. Can Daniel Abt beat Jarno Trulli to pole position? Across the line comes the German. And it's 5th place. Loses out in that final sector. Loic Duval, meanwhile, is weaving his way through the final sequence of corners, but he's gone slower than he has been in the first 2 sectors. So it's not going to be an improvement, I don't think, for Loic Duval. 8th place for the Frenchman. So who have we got out there? Buemi. Buemi's done a 28.2 in Sector 1. His Sector 1 is 0.3 slower than the quickest we've seen.
Yeah, he's... yeah, it looks like he's backed off. Doesn't look like he's going to get the lap done here.
Through the middle sector, and yeah, he's just under 0.3 down. Lockup down there at turn 10. So our 3rd place man in the championship looks as though he's going to be 3rd place on the grid. A few corners to go, and I think he's our last man to set a competitive lap time. Through the right-hander. One more corner at turn 17. Out onto the start, finish straight. Buemi is slower than he's been so far, and I don't think we're going to see an improvement from the Swiss racer. Across the line, and it's 3rd place. So that means Jarno Trulli is going to be starting on pole position for the first time since the Bahrain Grand Prix of 2009. The first time in 6 years for Jarno Trulli. What a great performance. He always had the reputation of being a sort of one-lap specialist, but an absolutely wonderful drive from Jarno Trulli to do that in the first session as well, when the track was at its most green. Really impressive stuff. So now let's hear from our pole sitter for the Berlin E-Prix, Jarno Trulli.
Well, Jarno Trulli, all that hard work has finally paid off. You must be very pleased.
Yeah, I'm really pleased, and I have to thank my team and GG as supporter, as a sponsors, and all the team members, because we've been struggling quite a lot and trying to find out the right pace and the right setup on the car. Also, it's been a very hard weekend for the team, because half of the team unfortunately is sick or is having problems. So I don't have a race engineer at the moment, a mechanic. So really happy with the actual situation and the results.
Other than just sort of, general progression and understanding how the setup works, is there anything that you can really pinpoint it down to?
No, we have made some steps and some progress, but we were a little bit surprised not to be competitive in Monaco. And back here, then we finally found the right pace. So I think that the right adjustment on the car made the difference. We still have some work to do, I think, but we're getting there step by step. But especially we are very confident for next year, because we are working on next year powertrain, which is very strong. So let's hope for next year, and let's hope for this afternoon race.
Yeah, good luck, thank you.
Pole position for Jarno Trulli here in Berlin. So here's a look at the results then, and this is how the grid will line up around the Berlin E-Prix. Jean-Eric Verne completing the top 10, Stefan Sarazan in 9th position, then you got Nico Prost there down in 7th place for the e.dams squad. Nelson Piquet Jr. not even making it into the top 10. Jarno Trulli starting on pole position ahead of De Grassi and Buemi, and there you can see Piquet Jr. 13th place. That'll be a real frustration to see his two championship rivals starting second and third, with him starting down in 13th position. Virgin not quite getting it hooked up, Alguersuari and Bird, but it's Jarno Trulli on pole position. So we can now hear from the man who's going to start in second place. Let's see if he has any more digs at Nelson Piquet Jr. That could be quite interesting. But
Oval, Nelson Piquet is down there at 13th at the moment. Does that mean the challenge is slightly more relaxed?
Not really. He's not my rival. He's just another racing driver that's on the field. There is many points to be fight for. The important is, again, the consistency. In a championship, you don't win by pole positions, you win by being at the top in the races, doing many podiums, many victories, many points. I'm very happy with all the job, the team, Audi Sport Team Abt and all the sponsors they did for us at this race. Is that home race here in Germany. So very happy to put again the car on the front row, second time now, and I hope the result will come in the race to follow.
And where do you think the race can be won and lost here today?
In the track. Of course, there is many factors which are new. This concrete surface has a very big effect on the tire. We don't know how this will behave during the race. Of course, the energy management, attack at the right time, and also the strategy can play a big role today.
And how is the strategy going to be for today? You know, being in second place, it's very different to Monaco, where it's very defensive.
Yes, Monaco is very difficult to overtake. We tried our best to overtake Buemi in Monaco on the pit stop. Here is a bit more open. You have margin to overtake. The track is very wide. But again, you have to be quick. You have to be pushing every lap. You have to be on target with the energy consumption. And then you have a fight for the victory.
Good luck. Thank you.
Second place on the grid then for Lucas Di Grassi. A good run from the Brazilian, the championship leader, who hasn't actually had a pole position so far this year. That's his third second place of the season. He was second in Beijing.